Hey there, this is John Anthony Francis Wilcox, and today is Saturday, April the 26th, 2025. How you doing? I hope you're all well. Um, it's been an eventful week. Yeah, I just like doing that. It's the case for these specs, shades. Wearing the shades, man. Um, so let's see. We talked last Saturday, which means the next day was Easter. So for Easter, with the gracious help of my nephew Michael, I made a big pot of sauce with Italian sausages, homemade meatballs, and we had penne rigate. And I think like 9 people came in and out as the day and the evening, till late, till after 10 at night. Quite a long day. So it was very nice to see people. There was some, uh, I don't know, discussions going on and whatever that I did not have anything to do with, and that was fine. And then the next day, Pope Francis died, and I'm still very sad and upset about that. He was a wonderful pope. He was a unique pope, and very much of the people, of the poor, of the marginalized. Um, a message of hope. He made a lot of people uncomfortable because he was welcoming to everyone no matter what, which, regardless of your opinions, that's what Jesus would do. Find someone who lives a lifestyle you don't like, and I guarantee you, Jesus loves that person. So there you go. That's it for my religious thing for today, because I know that some of you aren't religious at all, and that's your choice, and that's fine. We all make our choices in our lives, and we live the best we can. At least I hope we do. So that was very sad underpinning for the rest of my week, and but despite that, a busy week nonetheless. I was offered an interview with someone I didn't know at all. Um, uh, from a Swedish band called Teaser Sweet. Um, their singer, a woman named Therese Damberg. And I said, sure. So we did it by email, and I sent her a bunch of questions. And in looking stuff up about her, I saw that she's an award winning teacher in Sweden of our equivalent of middle school. So I asked her about that within there, and she gave a great answer. And I think, it's a little surprised that I, did my research. Their stuff is fun. It's kind of like, I don't know, 80s Judas Priest, kind of metal with a pop edge with a hard rock. I would say hard rock with a metal edge and pop. Um, Crunchoid guitars. She sings. It's her brother on guitar, and then a bass player and a drummer. Anyway, so I did that. I just finished editing it, and it's going to go up on the site tonight on Prog Sheet. So good to get that done. I had a bunch of paperwork I needed to scan and send to my advocate at Town Hall. Some to do with Medicare, and some to do with what they call the renter's rebate, which is, when you're poor folks, the government will give you a little something back each year, but you got to fill out a bunch of paperwork. So I did all of that. I scanned it all and sent it all off, and I'm sure I'll hear back from her Monday and say I need more than this, or it was fine. So I'm hopeful about that. Beyond that, what's been unusual for me is I've had a lot of dreams this week about the band ABBA. One of them also involving Jethro Tull, and specifically Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull. And in that particular dream, specifically Bjorn Ulvaeus from ABBA. Probably that was inspired by the fact that I saw that he turned 80 this week. But the Dreams have fired me listening to ABBA again. I mean, I've never, you know, taken a vacation from them, but there are times I listen more aggressively. So this week I listened a lot to ABBA the album because to me it's the best thing they did from late '77. It had several hits: "Take a Chance on Me," "The Name of the Game." It has the great song "Eagle," which was I think the closest they ever got to doing a progressive song. Wonderful piece with a great guitar instrumental outro. So much good on there. And also a piece that got turned around. They had written kind of prophetic for Benny and Bjorn, who would go on to write like Chess the Musical, that had the hit One Night in Bangkok that Murray Head sang. Um, there was a four-song, originally conceptually musical, called The Girl with Golden Hair. So you had Thank You for the Music, I Wonder, I'm a Marionette, and the other one was called, I believe, On the Carousel. Now they performed it that way live in '77 into '78 for a bit, but On the Carousel never made the cut for some reason and was repurposed, most of the melody and part of it, as a wonderful song, Hole in Your Soul. It's gotta be rock and roll to fill the hole in your soul. Great song, fantastic song. So that's how that ended up, and then they just, I don't know if they ever did beyond the initial performances. One of the songs I don't think they carried much on into future tours was I Wonder, which was just a great song. I got to find a way to fit that in. If I haven't done it before, I got to do another thing of ABBA songs for my 6 songs. This week I had done Todd Rundgren because I realized my nephew Michael brought it up. Why don't you do a 6 songs of Todd Rundgren, as he was listening to the song Time Heals? And I thought, have I? And I hadn't. So this week I fixed that up, and I hope you've had a chance to give a look and a listen. If not, that's your choice too. So what else? I also made some delicious ham jambalaya. And oh, I should say that I had taken my leftovers of the Easter stuff and I made a delicious baked ziti. And there's still a little of that. I wanted some, I was thinking ahead. So I got a good plastic container and I put a bunch of it in it, and it's in the freezer so that when I pine for it in a few weeks, I can go, oh, I will defrost that and have some of that that's over there in the freezer. That thingy, that wonderful device. So, unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of the CD, but I took a picture of my Easter meal and my ham jambalaya, and I'll probably put them after this of me talking. You can see them and whatever else I fill that out with. Did I show this tchotchke since we last talked? This splendid, I forget her name, is it Nazano, from the anime and manga Demon Slayer. I love getting like little anime related things, so you know. It's just a thing to make me smile. Can we have enough smiles? And I try to not be into, things per se. But every now and then a little thing I just go, oh, I feel like a little kid again, It's sort of like I was talking to my friend Suzanne, and she was saying that she had picked me up some kind of Hot Wheels car, and she hoped I liked something like that. And I just in my head I went, Hot Wheels car, Hot Wheels car. I got the first Hot Wheels when I was in 1968 when they first came out, so of course I'd love a Hot Wheels car. Plus, it was very generous and nice of my friend Suzanne to do that. And I was pleased in our conversation. I had recommended something to her, and she did it. Look at that. I had seen this ad for these live Sailor Moon shows, and I know Suzanne loves Sailor Moon, and it was live in Chicago. So it turns out she was like, "Oh, I should go to that," and she and her husband went to that, and she had a wonderful, wonderful time, which made me so happy that I told her about it. So wonderful, wonderful. Um, Beyond that, what else has been going on? Well, like I said, I'm very, very melancholy about the Pope, and I'm very pleased that I got my work done. Um, I've had my second terrible week of kind of non-sleep. It is how it is. It runs through. Um, I heard from a few people this week, not many, and someone said something nice to me for the first time in my entire life from anyone, which is, I suppose, sad in a way. When I tell you what it is, it's they said, "I hope you live a long life." That was my friend Ari, and you know what? No one else in my life has ever said that to me. In fact, my family, and I'm sure I've touched on this, are all waiting for me to no longer be among the living because I've heard since my late 20s, my nephew Ryan said, "When you die, can I have this guitar?" I've also heard that about that same guitar from who? Several nephews. No nieces want my musical. No nieces that I know of want anything of mine, and whatever. But it's been, how are you going to pay for your funeral? What are you going to do? How are you going to live on? Whatever. I don't like that I'm often thought of as a burden, and it makes me go, am I a burden? Am I a burden on my family? Am I a burden on my friends? I don't know. I sure hope not. But it's how I feel sometimes. I feel that there are people in my life that are waiting for me to be done. And I hate to disappoint them, but I've got a lot more I want to do in my life. I have no clue. I could die tonight. Who knows? I sure hope not. I sure hope it's not for a couple of decades or so. That would be cool. I have a lot of things I'd like to do. So, anyway, I'm starting to babble and blather, and I'm not saying this to feel sorry for myself, because I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm too busy trying to live a happy life and trying to live the right life for me. And I hope you are too. So, as always, I'd love to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. I love you. Bye bye.